really what it comes down to, the most important thing is your people skills. Because at the end of the day, your real estate that you're buying is really the contracts, and the tenants is what you're really buying into. That's the real relationship, and you'll develop that through the years. And if you have very good business sense and not too much people skills and vice versa, you strike that balance and you'll be very successful.
Your network is your net worth. Come listen to some of the most successful people I know share invaluable knowledge, stories, and advice in real estate, business, and beyond. This is Weiss Advice. Whether you want to take your business or personal life to the next level, look no further. Welcome back to Weiss Advice. I'm your host, Yona Weiss. And with me today, we have a special guest, Mike Butler, right, all the way from sunny Philadelphia. Sorry, no, I'm just kidding. He's not in North Carolina. He's in Philadelphia. How you doing out there, Mike, today?
Great. Can't complain. It is actually sunny here in Philadelphia today, so which has not been like that in a while. So it's been a very wet and rainy spring.
Yeah, well, the weather is changing, and hopefully that's going to bring a lot of change to the current environment as well.
Yes.
With God's help. So a little bit about Mike. Mike has been in the real estate investing space for almost 25 years. So different levels, for his first property, which was a duplex back in 1994. And he's remained very active in the real estate investing through acquisition and sale of single family rentals, fix and flips, residentials, all the way till 2010. And as he was a landlord, he has done a lot of maintenance, property manager, a lot of different aspects of the real world challenges of owning and managing rental properties. So that's really given him a kind of boost for his multifamily, large multifamily acquisition businesses, which in the last 5 years or so, you guys have taken down how many units by now?
Well, myself and my partner, we've done probably a little over 4,000 units.
Over 4,000 units together and with partners. So it is a true pleasure to have you on our show today, Mike. And, it's always fascinating to speak to people who have a lot more experience on the hands-on and the management side of the business, because real estate investing is not all, sun and flowers and just receiving a check, passive investor. You got to get down in the dirty a lot of times. But I'm curious to ask you because, obviously you've spent a lot of time, you've grown a tremendous amount since back then, back in 94 when you purchased that first duplex.
Yeah.
Now, are you involved in the day-to-day management of your large multifamily properties?
Yeah. So, I have a deal that I'm running point on that it's down in North Carolina, and I'm very active in that. It's a kind of a mid-sized deal, being about 60 some units. And 62 units to be exact. And, it's not quite large enough to have a full-time property manager there. So we have more of like a leasing agent. But, from the day-to-day, actually just got off the phone with her about 10 minutes ago, going through, especially now with COVID and the shutdown down in North Carolina has been pretty much shut down as well for the past month or so now. Thankfully, knock on wood, we have not been hit hard. Our tenants were actually... The one tenant that we did have that maybe we're going to have some issues actually ended up getting everything squared away. So we're actually doing well. And I know that's not the case for everybody. So my heart goes out to them.
So, yeah, it sounds like you've been very proactive from the get-go. And a little spoiler alert, I heard you on the Bigger Pockets podcast where you talked a little more in detail about your proactivity, involved in that. So, obviously that was a big important factor in the fact that you guys are still doing well and your rents are coming in strong.
Yeah, it's, and that's really what it comes down to, as I mentioned there, and also we kind of repeated here, it's just communication. For myself, what I've learned through the years, going back from 1994, I just kind of fell into it. It was actually my older brother's idea. I just got out of college and he said, I'm still at home, at the time, and just graduating. He says, why don't you, go buy a duplex and live on the bottom and rent out the top or something. Sure. It sounds like a good idea. I've always been interested in architecture, managed properties, real estate. I was probably, how was I then? 22, I'm 53 now. So, but I kind of just fell into it and kind of grew from there. I was very more of a passive business. By my W-2 is I'm in my career, I'm a physician assistant in heart surgery. Mm-hmm. I've been doing it for 30 years, enjoy it. But, for this time in the phase of my life, I'm looking to go more full time on the real estate business and kind of walk away from the healthcare side of it. And that's going well. But through the years, I've always done it passively. Like you mentioned, I've fixed some flips. I've done my own work, did my own maintenance, did my repairs, property management. And, one thing I've learned is that experience is very transferable into the multifamily or full-time real estate management or syndication management, asset management. It all really ties together. And
so you're saying it doesn't really matter what type, if as long as you're involved in the hands-on in the day-to-day of a business and involved in real estate, you can transfer that, to a different aspect of the business.
On the maintenance side, you learn, you kind of have a feel for what sounds like a contractor's kind of maybe pulling his leg a little bit, or, and you kind of get a feel for things. You kind of know what to expect. But really what it comes down to, the most important thing is your people skills. Because at the end of the day, your real estate that you're buying is really the contracts, and the tenants is what you're really buying into. That's the real relationship, and you'll develop that through the years. And if you have very good business sense and not too much people skills and vice versa, you strike that balance and you'll be very successful.
Okay. And I imagine, you as a physician's assistant, and I want to kind of dig into that a little bit more, because you're saying you've been working full-time for the past 30 years, basically, as a physician assistant, and simultaneously investing in real estate, both, actively and passively. So, and being a physician assistant, obviously you're dealing with people all the time.
Yeah, I actually, I kind of, not just of our tenants, but also our business partners and our investors. I've taken almost a medical approach to it in terms of, working with investors as almost informed consent.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a procedure, you hopefully you haven't had any, but if someone goes to the procedure, they have to sign a consent, and they have to have everything explained to them in detail, but in very understandable terms.
Sure.
And, that's important. And I think that's, I along our leases and working with our tenants and communicating with them, also with our investors, I do the same thing. It's really about having that granular understanding of, what expectations are is important. That's what I kind of use that as well, that experience as well.
Amazing. And have you had any challenges or like anything stand out in your mind specifically in dealing with, investors? Because I think a lot of people who are listening to this are, thinking they are either investors themselves in real estate deals, or they are perhaps syndicators and people who are looking to partner with investors. So, what's a challenge that you've kind of been able to overcome through the communication with the investors?
I think that it's a great question. And I think, it's like anything else, whether it's medicine, real estate investing, you name it. Everyone comes in with a different level of knowledge and understanding. And in a good way, it's always kind of taken the approach, if I can't explain it, then I shouldn't be offering it, and understand it myself, obviously.
100%.
And we don't have I don't have a punch list of just things to say, and then that's it. And be sure in your world, your business, and you go through different clients, some need more education about it. And even in the medical world, someone that, sir, you need heart surgery. Okay, can we do it tomorrow? I kid you not. And then others obviously need to get their affairs in order and have more questions and want to confer with their family. You'll see a wide range. It's interesting, reflecting back as you ask that question, I see the same thing in the investment world. Some investors I've spoken to, they understand what we're trying to do in sort of syndicating multifamily assets. And others, it's new to them. They're used to the stocks and bonds and, market-driven type investments, and this is new. They're interested, but they need more education. And that's, you understand that quickly, and you just work with them.
How do you do? What are some ways that you do? You have like a platform, you have an educational, do you refer them to certain resources? How do you go about, or is it just on a one-by-one basis?
Exactly. We have educational material about ourselves, our firm, about, investing in real estate, particularly multifamily and syndications.
Right.
We have all that, and we share that with all our clients.
Gotcha.
And that really is a good primer, and that kind of generates more questions. That's what you want. You want your material to generate more questions, deeper questions.
Right.
And then that's really when the phone call comes in, and then maybe we'll do a Zoom call like we're doing now, and really go from there. And it's always a process. There's no specific endpoint. And sometimes the answer is no, and you just say, thank you, I really appreciate your time. If you know of anybody, let me know. If you change your mind, have more questions, please call back. No harm, no foul.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me ask you a question, kind of unrelated to what we spoke about now, but obviously you have dealing with a lot of tenants, right? And hands-on managerial, hands-on stuff with dealing with tenants is definitely not the easiest thing to do. But it sounds like you're dealing with it, and you enjoy that aspect of it because it's the people skills and because you like dealing with people. And I think your approach that you mentioned before is that you're dealing, real estate, you're really dealing with people, right? You're tenants, and that's, I think, the best approach. Unfortunately, some real estate have a bad name, the slumlords, et cetera. There is that, that bad image that some people think about when they think about, large multifamily properties. Give me an example, like in this situation. Obviously, this is not the easiest situation to go through. I know you were proactive with your tenants in this pandemic. Like, what was one thing that you did to be proactive in this situation with your tenants?
In the current
situation.
Yeah, because that communication, we were very proactive in communicating with them. We from a COVID standpoint, obviously back in mid-March, no one really knew what was coming down the pike. So we sent them a letter saying we're here, let us know. I gave them I have a 800 number that they can call me directly if they have any questions. Worked very closely with our property manager. We kept the structure of communication with the property manager going through her first. Mm-hmm. That's important. You want to continue, in my opinion, kind of continue your current processes, but support them a little bit more deeper, in terms of, and you kind of adjust as you need. I know it's not a very specific answer, but that's what we did. And we didn't go into, we didn't send them communication saying that, if you have an issue with paying your rent, let us know. We didn't do that. We just, my opinion was that what I did was sent them just saying that we're here, stay safe. We're going to close our office, but she's available by phone, by email, whatever, but we're still here. But then what I did was I didn't want to promote any issues as well. Right. Is that balance? And then said, we dealt with the issues as they came.
Gotcha.
Because everybody's situation is different. Even with among tenants, someone may have gotten furloughed, and may have lost their job permanently. It might be temporary. We just don't know. So we didn't kind of blast a plan out per se. We let them come to us first.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Very, very eye-opening, because I think a lot of people don't think about that. Just the little things, reaching out to your tenants. I think that's being proactive, not waiting for them, to come to you with their problems.
Yeah. It's an open channel communication.
Right. I think it's really important. Okay. So we're going to jump right in, I think, to the final four over here, because there's a lot these are some of the great questions. And I like when they go a little bit deeper than just the one word answer. So let's just jump right into it, Mike. So what is the worst job that you ever had?
The worst job, I'll tell you, if I would tell you what my first job was, you would think it was the worst job. So what I did was, I grew up, of course, in Philadelphia, and that's when Veterans Stadium was still, built in place. And I picked up trash, and then during the day I sold parking passes as they come in, and but I had a lot of fun doing it. So it was interesting. I was like, I'll say I was 16. I was probably a little bit younger. I don't know what the rules are, but my brother got me the job, my older brother, and I had a little blast though. I mean, it was first time getting out and making a little bit of money. It wasn't much, but worked with a bunch of characters, that older gentlemen that I'm sure all passed away now. But it was a lot of hard work, stinky work, but it taught me some good work ethic. I'll tell you that.
Definitely. And so that wasn't your worst job.
No, I can't. I think we've all been in situations where, in professional situations where I may have taken a job and you just know off the bat it's not there either. It just doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. And I've gone over the years to realize that that's very important. Is it has to feel good, and if it doesn't, then it's not worth it. And sometimes you stay at jobs that you do it for the money, you do it for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, as I got older and aged, I realized that that's probably the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, just as you were saying that, I just pumped into my head over here. The first sales job that I ever had was kind of like a summer job at a magazine company out in Los Angeles. It's like a free publication magazine.
Yeah.
Where basically they're just selling advertising because that's how they have the revenue to put out that magazine. And I tell you, the sales part of it was horrible. But the worst part about the whole thing was just some of the people in that office. And it was that was my first real experience in a, in kind of a sales environment and with people that, who are, professional salesmen who are, the whole up and down of that. And some are just people I would never want to spend time with had I not been, thrown into that environment.
Right. It's, you kind of, and as you grow, you realize that you work with people who have personalities, like you're either attracted to them or you're pushed away from. Like, I don't want to be, they act like a mirror almost. I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Very good. So question number 2, what is a book that has given you a paradigm shift?
That's a good question. I think what really changed, I think everyone's read this book, especially if you're in real estate investing, is Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
At the point where I actually just gave it to we have 3 kids, 22, 19, and 14. My youngest 14, I gave it to him. As this is your summer project. Now that they're out of school and they're whatever they're doing now in school. Right. I got a book for you to read because they're not going to give it in school. So of course he put it down. He's not really, you had to beat him with a stick to get it. No, I'm just kidding. But he's watching what I'm doing and he sees and he's starting to ask questions. And I think that's just a kind of a advice, not from dad, kind of book. And I think that's, it helped me and kind of look at a different perspective and hopefully that'll help him. So that was, hopefully that'll be probably a paradigm shift for a lot of people.
Absolutely. That book has definitely come up before on our podcast and and I agree because it's one of those books that they don't teach you in school.
No.
A lot of these concepts, and it just opens your eyes to what money means and how to use it and real estate and the benefits, et cetera. So I appreciate that. It's a great book.
Yeah. I think one, I think that maybe help everybody is because having 2 careers and making that career shift,
right.
is, the time balance. And a big one is Hal Elrod's The Miracle Morning, I think is a good one. And there he has a few other books after that, the follow-ups. That I found helpful in kind of structuring my thought process and trying to balance the two and kind of making that shift.
Absolutely. Another excellent book. And I appreciate you bringing that one up because that's also great perspective on a lot of things in that book. So check it out. Hal Elrod, Miracle Morning. Number 3, what skill or talent would you like to learn?
I would like to be proficient in another language. My wife's Italian, Sicilian. I still think they talk about me. I'm kidding. Yeah, I was one of the first Americans to get into the family, but no, I'm only kidding. No, but I think Spanish. I think it's obviously. I think to have that connection, it really goes down to that one-on-one connection with your clients, whether it's investors, tenants, business contacts, what have you. I just think it's something I should. I won't say it's a bucket, but something I really should do. I kind of always again putting that time into doing it, and it's something I want to do. Yeah.
Absolutely, excellent. And number 4, what does success mean to you?
If you were to ask me that in different stages of my life, it would be a different answer.
Yeah, right.
Now.
So the 53-year-old Mike Butler.
Yeah, before, up until, a few years ago, I'd like to make as much money as I can. But it's really just about enjoying the day for me and feeling that I'm working towards something that I want to do. I've really realized that over the past probably year or two. And obviously family is a huge part of that because I think, they feed off of our energy, my wife and my energy and her energy. And I think it's really just more, the money's a nice part of it. Let's not, kid ourselves. And I want to be able to give something to my children, when I go, but not just from a monetary standpoint, but teaching them values and sense of hard work, going back to Rich Dad Poor Dad, making money, not just earning money. I mean, there's a lot of facets of it and just leaving something back. So that's what really to me success. It's not just a single answer.
Absolutely. No, that's important. And I like how you said it, just enjoying the day, and enjoying life because a truly successful person in that sense of the word, because it means something different to everyone. And like you said, in different stages of your life, it means something different to you. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, because as you grow and mature and have different challenges and experiences in life, in education, you open your mind up and yourself up to different things. So enjoying the day, enjoying life, I think it's so important. And what you're doing is allowing yourself to open yourself up to those opportunities that come your way. And it's kind of setting up
that opportunity and just, again, it's an opportunity and options. I keep telling my children, teaching them that you want options. You want to be the driver of your ship, car, whatever, your path, whether it's real estate or whether it's, just be happy what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter, our middle daughter's changed. She's a junior. She'll be a junior in college starting next year. She's already made like 2 or 3 career change shifts. So, but it's okay, because you see that maturity and that growth, and just be happy what you're doing. It'll all work.
Absolutely. And at that age, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I was 19, 20, like forget about it, and it's just, the time just living life and experiencing different things kind of opens you up to those opportunities. Right. And you see what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't, and kind of go with it. So
tell them, you have to pay attention to people around you too. And a lot of people helped me to what you mentioned earlier. You go through your work, and some people you kind of get it, you emulate, or some of you don't. But I tell them to pay attention to who's around you and help them and help others and let them help you. So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Mike. Where can our listeners find you if they choose to do so?
You can look at on our website, Carolina Multifamily Investments.com. It's all one word. There you can email me. Find me on LinkedIn, Mike Butler, Carolina Multifamily Investments. I'm always on LinkedIn. A little bit of Facebook here and there, but I'm not a big Facebook fan. But anywhere you can, and then also through the podcast here, it's fine.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Mike. It was a pleasure having you on the Weiss Advice. And to all our listeners, thanks for joining us again. And remember, the best advice only comes when you ask. Real quick, I have one question for you. Did you like this episode? If you did, I want to ask you a huge favor. See, the biggest thing that helps this podcast grow and that will spread this message to the whole world is that if you leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to the podcast. What that does is it basically tells the platforms that this podcast is out on is that you like my stuff and I'm doing something right. So take a few seconds out of your day, hit that subscribe button, leave a rating or review. I would be extremely grateful. Also, I want to hear from you guys. So I want to hear some feedback. If you have any questions for future episodes, please find me on LinkedIn. Send me a DM, a connection request, Yona Weiss, and I'd love to hear from you.